Arsenio Teresias. I'm doing this video blog as part of my assignment for the class. My paper is going to be on robots, the use of robots, mostly in military. What are robots? A robot is a machine that resembles either human or animals. It carries out a very complex task. It can be programmed by a computer. At the same time, it can be remotely controlled. It also can carry its own source of power. And there's a lot of very complex things that this mostly electronic machine can do. Now, what are the uses of robots? Who uses them? Almost in every way of life where technology is used, there are some robots involved. For instance, cancer treatment, where they use radiations. And a lot of times they use robots, and the reason for that is while you're treating cancer and you want to use radiation, you don't want to expose a human being to all that level of radiation. Therefore, robots are used a lot in these kind of procedures to avoid human exposure to a high level of radiation. There's another way robots are used when there are a high level of productivity involved. The human body, there's a limit to what it can do. Also, when there's precision cutting involved, for instance. Now, if you let a human do that, yes, a human can do very complex tasks too. But you expect more precision when something's being done by a robot because it's controlled and everything's done. And the other thing is, in humans, you expect to have some type of problem, such as the body. You know, somebody gets sick, or somebody needs some type of protection from the sun or from the water or whatnot, whatever it is. When you compare the human body to a robot comes at a cheaper cost, I would say, than a human body. That's only if we put values on the human body in terms of material costs, which I don't know what it is. We already said what now robots are used for, and we said it's used for many things. And the one we're gonna cover, and for this particular assignment, is mostly its use in military, because there are controversies about why robots are used to kill people, what human could do, and then we use robots to do it, and the emotions that robots don't have. Remember, while robots are very complex machines, they don't have emotions. So they are programmed to perform specific tasks, and as humans, that's what we do. We carry our emotions with us, and sometimes that becomes a problem, and then there's a lot of outcries about it, and how sometimes the discretions that we have, now a robot doesn't have it, and there are things we could prevent that a robot won't necessarily prevent it. My second point, where I talk about justice, public administration, and robot, I'm gonna look at a document. You can check it. It's defensenews.com, and there was an article out on January 20th, 2014, and it talks about U.S. Army studying replacing thousands of grunts with robots. Basically, the U.S. wants to downsize its military and use less human bodies. But to do that, they're using robots to basically replace these human bodies. During a remarks at the Army Aviation Symposium in Arlington, Virginia, on January 15, 2014, there was a general who spoke, and he talked about the Army downsizing its brigade combat teams from about 4,000 soldiers down to 3,000. The Army is already on a path to shrink from 440,000 soldiers to about 490,000 by the end of 2015. Eventually, by the year 2019, the Army wants to downsize its numbers all the way to 420,000 soldiers. And what happened, most of the cut that's being done, they're going to use robots. Now, when we talk about the coexistence of robots and humans, of course, humans created robots. And now the question is, did we create robots to replace us? Or did we create robots to help? You might find it both ways. You might say, well, okay, the reason we created robots is so we can sit and relax. But hey, we would still have to monitor what they're doing. Now, if you say, yeah, we created robots only to help us. If you take it in that sense that robots are here to help, we created them and we need their help. We need them to help us make our cars. We need them to make everything, the phone that I'm using, the computer. There are robots involved in every one of them. And if we go back to centuries ago when we didn't have all these technologically advanced stuff that could automatically perform these tasks, it would take, I would say it would take thousands of years and human bodies to perform some of these tasks. And we probably wouldn't even get them as refined as those done by robots. Now we have them, we do all these things. It says something about us and robots coexisting. But isn't there now source going on where we're replacing humans by robots? Now, how about humans versus robots, where we can look at the military using robots not only to replace its own troops, but also to go fight humans elsewhere. Now, it can be a philosophically challenged question. How do you use machines to go kill other people? So where are the collateral damage that anyone would expect in wars? Yes, they can destroy the robots sometimes, but where are the human lives that are involved? So it can be an ethical question as to what exactly are robots for, and are they going to replace us? Remember, these are machines, these are complex, and they're built to withstand very rough terrains and a lot of things. Now, the only thing, they're still machines. They don't think, they don't have emotions, they don't have discretion. Now, what happened when, let's say for instance, they get hacked, or for simple reasons, they get the program malfunction? Now at this point, no one controls what these machines, what these tough machines do. Now, it can backfire. I find it just important to raise these questions. So think of the type of bug, the type of virus that hacked the Iranian nuclear facilities. Let's say we had something like that happened in the software where you control these robots. Now you have such a massive number of your military personnel that you don't control. Not only that you don't control it, but you don't know now if it's working against you or not. This can be very dangerous. This can be a very, very serious issue. And that's why in the paper I mentioned, I said technology at what cost? Now, what happens later? If these things malfunction, if they start to destroy other humans, if they stop to receive orders from their makers or from the person who's supposed to be commanding them, it can be a very, very catastrophic event. I would say a chain of events. Now, if I sit here where I am, and this is where I had the jurisdictions to work, but then I am performing some type of task through a robot somewhere else. Now, how legal that is, I don't know. I'm not a legal expert on that sense, but there are all these questions involved, because eventually people are going to try to go around the laws as to what humans are prohibited or banned from doing. And then, but now, hey, I can be here, but it wasn't me because I wasn't there. But then again, I'm remotely using something else to perform these tasks. And I expect very challenging legal issues coming from this. Robots have their importance. They're very important, and we need them to perform various tasks. But now, to what extent? To what extent? How far do we go with robots? Now, if we start through the military, said, okay, we're replacing boots on the ground. Well, I don't know if robots use boots, if they wear boots or whatever they use. But let's say we're replacing humans by robots. Now, when we're done with replacing humans with robots, and we see how successful we were, what else are we replacing? I mean, where else are we replacing humans by robots? Is it going to be at some point where I could go down the street expecting a police officer, and then I only find a robot to answer to a person who harassed me? If I have to go down to somewhere where emotions are involved, or there are some type of emergencies, and then now, and it's a special case, it's not an everyday type of case. Now, how do I go about explaining that to a robot? How do I go about dealing with a robot when the robot is programmed to go from A and B and do such and such? All these, I think they're worth questioning while we're using technology. We might say to which extent. And I think about the vicious cycle. If we decide we won't have robots altogether, we probably won't have a lot of the things that we have now and that we are happy about. If we decide otherwise, that since we want more of these things that we enjoy that robots do for us, and then we want to multiply, or we want to replace humans with robots. Now, how do we go about a world where it's run by robots? Because again, we never know when something will malfunction, and the program that determines what a robot does, and what exactly will it do when that happens. And if the number of robots we have, it's bigger, more powerful than the number of humans that can control it manually, what do we get ourselves into? That's where I'll conclude for now. Hopefully I find answers, and I find a conclusion that takes me somewhere I never thought I would ever end up with that robot thing. Thank you.